Yes! 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 Yes!
Hi, everyone. It's time for Wrestling Rewrite. It's been 3 weeks instead of the 2 week, and he's here. We found him. He got done schmoozing the Billionaires Club, and he's here now. Mike Kolb is here, and we are going to discuss. We are now in quarter 2 of this TNA Impact 2004 save. You and I were talking about before we went on the air. We have a lot. You and I have a lot of differences between our two saves, so this should be fun. So the listeners are caught up with me up until April. So I got to do April through July. By the way, we're now at July week 1, 2004. So Mike, a lot to go over with your save, because just in speaking of a roster, ours are vastly different. So take us through what did you do to start this save from the get-go?
So before I get there, just want to first off say apologies for missing the last two, which were the first two technically. Life happens, things happen. I apologize, TJ. I made a commitment to you and let you down there those couple weeks, but I'm here. Secondly, Mazel Tov, congratulations. Mrs. Steppen sent me the text, shared the good news. She let me know that you gave her the gift that keeps on giving. And as I'm saying that, I thought she meant a child, but now I'm realizing she meant herpes. So we're going to skip that and go to the next topic.
Very good.
No. So my TNA save, vastly different than yours. It sounds like absolutely. I'm currently caught up, unlike somebody here on this broadcast. I'm in week 1, July 2004. Man. When I started the save, what?
Just right out of the gate. Oh, somebody's trying to catch up right now.
Yeah, someone's trying to catch up right now. I when I started the save, I assessed my backstage area. One of the big concerns that was back there is Jeff Jarrett had morale issues. Go figure. From the stress of being figurehead, I promptly did what any sane person would do and stripped him of his figurehead and gave it to Sting. Hey, Eddie Prather, hope you're doing well, sir. So made my Sting my figurehead, pissed off Jeff Jarrett even more. So we'll see how the next 6 months go as I get you up to speed. I don't know. So I think when we first kicked this thing off, TJ, we talked about how there are some differences from save to save. So there are some people that get random contracts and some people that get actual ones that are programmed in there, which I think I just told you before we went live on the air, Brock Lesnar's deal expired with WWE in the last 6 months. He's still sitting there as a free agent. Won't talk to me, but
if you remember in 2004, technically that's true.
Oh, okay.
But I let me look here in a minute and see where his deal was in mine. But then I don't know if he resigned though. So
let me know because I'm annoyed he won't talk to me. But hey, so I'm going to kind of go through my roster here, talk about who my top stars are. And by that, I'm sorting my roster by popularity, and I'm looking at people that are rated 70 to 100 in popularity rating. Somebody that was a free agent signee was Bret Hart. He is a part of my TNA. He is a road agent and a personality. You'll find out maybe as we go on, he cuts promos here and there and talks up things. But yeah, road agent and, puts together some really great matches in TEW. Still have Dusty Rhodes, obviously Jeff Jarrett. I'm going to skip a little bit ahead here and jump to the next one being Sting. And then 2 signees. The first one I'm going to give you is a very recent signee, and that's the Macho Man, who just signed with me. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then the other one was somebody I signed, I think in week 2 of the save, or no, week 4 of the save, because it was week 1, February. This gentleman became a free agent, and I threw the bank at it just because, hey, why not? This is going to be fun and exciting for us for this conversation. And that was Shane McMahon is a member of TNA.
Whoa. What?
So,
what?
Yes. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to pull up, let's see. Let me pull up my show history here and go all the way back.
Yes, Brock Lesnar did re-sign with WWE in mind.
There you go. So my big concern with this with this whole save as being a part of the NWA, and I'll be honest, it was a learning curve because like, how the heck do I get the defend the NWA world title on my shows? Like, it's kind of buried in there on borrowing the title for a show, even though Jeff Jarrett's the champ when you kick this thing off. You have to figure out how to borrow the title from the NWA to actually get him to defend it on the show, right? Well, you know, hey, where there's chaos, there's opportunity, I think, as Paul Heyman says.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, you know what? F it. And I made a TNA world title and brought that in and kicked things off really with a bang in that way. And Sting, being my figurehead, became my TNA world champion. Your TNA world champion, it sounds like, as well.
Yeah.
Look at that. Roddy Piper is obviously a part of the save, too. He was a heavy used wrestler at the beginning. He is no longer, but we'll get to that, too. But primarily, most of my first few cards were, you know, Jarrett or Sting or Piper were in the main event. I'm focusing on the pay-per-views. TNA Explosion, while is nice to have on this, it's kind of meaningless in many ways, like for the exciting storylines to talk about.
Yes.
But where is it here? Oh, CM Punk is working his way through the roster as well. I have him on here, as I think you all should.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find where is Shane McMahon's debut. It's gonna come up here in a sec. Here we go. Yeah, so this is March. Yes. At this point in time, I have a number of folks on my TNA roster. Again, I'm going to focus on the higher ups, but you know, as I name drop some folks, you're obviously going to pick up that I've signed some people.
Mm-hmm.
We kick things off with Sid Vicious showing up and Bryan Danielson showing up.
See, I never signed Bryan Danielson because I'm a freelancer, so I can only work 3 months at a time. That annoys me.
I have him on a handshake deal that he can come and go as he pleases. Dustin Rhodes, Bam Bam Bigelow, which is going to sound like the weirdest grouping you've ever heard together when you find out that one by one these guys are causing problems for Sting week after week after week.
I like it.
Before they all finally come together with the man with the master plan, and that was when Shane McMahon made his debut.
That's fantastic.
And that was Shane's stable. Now, the one person leaving out of there is Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper's also ends up becoming a part of that stable as well. Again, a band of misfits when you think about it, right?
I love
it. Fast forward, Piper, I used him to build up some superstars. Piper asked for his release not too long ago, so he is no longer a part of the save. So yeah, as time goes on, I'm working CM Punk into a lot of things. I'm working. So when you kick things off, right, there is a storyline in the save where CM Punk and Julio De Niro are in Raven's Flock's storyline because they're just started, right? I pretty much kicked that to the curb almost freaking immediately and ended that storyline. CM Punk turned face, or was it? Yeah, Punk was heel in this, so Punk turned face, helped Raven a few times, like just, you know, we're gonna ignore what just happened, and then I've started putting Sting or CM Punk into main event storylines. So he was with Sting, he was with DDP, right? He was doing things with them, just trying to build up his reputation and his experience a little bit. Let me see, where is it at here? So right now, as we're into July, my next big things in my save are number 1, Punk, number 2, Styles, number 3, Bryan Danielson, and number 4, Michael Shane. But I wouldn't read too much into Michael Shane. I haven't booked too much with him. And Jeff Hardy's number 5, sorry. It's crazy because a lot of them put like showstoppers: AJ Styles, Bryan Danielson, Christopher Daniels, Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, right? You can tell where I'm taking my people. You can tell who I'm focusing on, right? So yeah, as time goes on, obviously, Jarrett ends up dropping the TNA title on another show to I have to pull it up. I forget how to pronounce his name, if I'm being honest. It was a Japanese wrestler. And I actually started letting Jarrett fall down the wayside of the card. Like, he became a mid-carder. I had him opening a few matches. Like, I was kind of like making Jarrett kind of an afterthought to a lot of people. I started teasing a gimmick change with him. Made him more of the go back to the Chosen One gimmick a little bit.
The way you were going, I thought you were going to I made him the country singer again.
No.
Made him a complete dick on the way.
But he had a 1 month little feud with his old roadie, of course.
Yeah. See, I'm using him a lot too.
Yeah.
And we'll get in that. We'll get into mine here in a minute.
For sure. Towards the end of this, or as we get into June, Shane and his people are trying to just basically decimate Sting. They end up defeating Sting. It's a 3-on-3 match at one of the pay-per-views where it's Sting, DDP, and Punk versus Bam Bam, Bryan Danielson, and Sid. And if Shane's team wins, Sting has to defend his title against each member of Shane's stable for the next few weeks. And if not, they all have to leave. Well, of course, Bryan Danielson makes Punk tap, and now Sting's got to defend his title, right? So each week, right, it's first week he defends it against Piper, wins, there's outside interference, right? Second week, defends it against Bryan Danielson, he easily wins that one, right? One by one, we get all the way to the end. He defeats Bam Bam became like the main person. Then I bring in Luger. Mm-hmm. Luger interferes against Sting to find out that Luger's a part of Shane's stable. So the following week, it's got to be Sting, Luger, world title, right, on the line. It got ratings, decently at least. But what ended up happening at the end of that night was I had Jarrett go berserk. He cleans house. And I'm kind of like explaining in my mind what the creativity was here, but you obviously can't put it into the game. Right. And that was Jarrett ends that match in a double disqualification, takes out Sting with a guitar, takes out Luger with a guitar, takes out every member of Shane's stable with a guitar. Punk comes out to save Sting, takes him out with the guitar. So I added all the outside interference things into TEW to make this look like that. And then TNA goes off the air with Jeff Jarrett declaring war on everybody else in TNA. Following week, which was the last week I just did, in the opening match, Jeff Jarrett retakes the NWA World title. And so now we're building towards that. So it's going to end up with like a three-headed monster of Shane's group, which is actually probably going to be more like the B Squad until you get the Dustin Rhodes and the Bryan Danielsons built up a little bit further. It'll probably be Sting and Jarrett for a little bit. Sting will probably, maybe, who knows, drop the title to Jarrett for a little bit and let Jarrett take it from there for a few months. We'll see where I'm going with that. Randy Savage. That last week when Randy Savage just debuted, right? As a member of Jarrett's stable, Jarrett brought him in when he started hitting everybody with guitars and declared war. And Savage is now entering into a feud with Punk. Because when he came out, he took out Punk when Jarrett was taking everybody out and hit everybody with these guitars. Savage was also an interference person on that one. Attacked Punk. The following week, he attacked Punk again. And so now, that's last week, right, when Jarrett won the title as well, the NWA title, now the Sting TNA World title. And we're leading into a CM Punk Randy Savage feud. I only have Savage for 3 months. He just announced he's going to be retiring, and I signed him for a 3-month contract when he said he was going to be retiring in 3 months. So I'm using this Savage final 3 months to really help elevate Punk as much as I can. And also fantasy booking it a little bit, right? Because I always would have loved to have seen that match.
That would have crushed. So you went through a lot of things.
Yeah, sorry, verbal diarrhea.
No, it's fine. I wasn't even talking shit. You went through a lot of things that could not be more different than mine, which is great, and why I think this save's going to be fun. For one, our roster makeup is entirely different.
Sure.
But again, we were talking about, so before we went on the air here, we think certain people get randomly put as either positive backstage influence or not negative or negative. And the reason why I did not sign Lex Luger, because I looked at him real hard, was he was negative. And I've pretty much gotten rid of pretty much everyone that was a negative backstage influence on my roster. So if I go to mine right now, where is it? There it is. My only 4 negative influences are James Storm, Jeff Jarrett, Low Key, and Roddy Piper. And to be honest with you, I could release Low Key right now, and I'm not sure that I would miss anything. Piper just retired, as you know where we're at now. Jarrett's extremely negative, but he is also irritated, and I don't remember why. Because he got dropped as figurehead.
Yep.
And I also fired the Harris twins, because who the fuck wants them around in 2004? So, but he's still all 70s in popularity in the United States. So the rest of my roster, I have Abyss, who I've made all 55s in North America and mid 40s in Canada because of all the TV deals, which we can go into. AJ Styles, all 60s in USA. I've been pushing him hard. He's still my X Division champ. Oh, by the way, so when we start to save, the only active title for TNA is the X Division title.
Yep.
So when I started, I withdrew from the NWA entirely and did the TNA World title, tag titles, and women's title or knockouts. Let's see here. I have signed for my women's division. I signed Aquino. I just I made a tag team with Amazing Kong and Angel Williams, or as everyone else remembers, Angelina Love. I am right now. I signed Talia Madison as a baby face, and right now I'm getting ready to turn her, and it'll be the beautiful people with Amazing Kong as their muscle.
Love it.
Let's see, who else do I have here? That's worth doing. Beth Phoenix is on my roster. Bret Hart. CM Punk is 43s in the US popularity. I'm slowly building him up. He's actually in a feud right now with BG James. So that's and he's still a heel.
I'm going to compare and contrast as you go through this. So CM Punk for me is 52 popularity.
Yes.
Abyss is still in the 40s for me, though.
Yeah. Well, I believe, so Abyss's star quality is 62. Oh, Punk's 80. So yeah, that's, maybe I should be, well, Punk just beat BG James at the last pay-per-view.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, weekly pay-per-views I got rid of. That was the first thing I did also. Got rid of that shit. I went to Explosions, my B show. I have TNA Impact, which was my Friday night show, because I'm not going to go against Raw. That would just be stupid. And then I have my monthly pay-per-view. So I think I just did. Yeah, for those of you who didn't catch the snipe that were getting the show, I'm not caught up. I'm at the end of May. So I just did, what was that? Hard Justice, something like that was the last show I just did.
So it's funny because, like you said, we'll get into broadcast deals in a little bit here. I'm still on the weekly pay-per-views with Explosion, but, and I have no problem giving this little tidbit away. I'm going to probably be moving to weekly TV, monthly pay-per-views like you, monthly events, in probably about 3 months, because the pay-per-view, what is the name of it? I'm trying to blank out, but the broadcaster, that your main USA broadcaster for events, your contract is up with them, or your agreement is up with them week 1 of July, I think, or week 4 of June, either way. And so I extended it for 3 months because they would not even renew me for prime time. They wanted me to go to late night, even though I've increased in popularity, increased my ratings, everything, right? But I feel like in 3 more months, when I flip that switch and go to TV, I can probably get a slightly better time slot with a TNT or a USA or whoever I decide to go with.
Yep.
Throwing random names out.
I love it. DDP is mostly 70s, but I just had him put Abyss over at the last pay-per-view. So he's dipped in the 69 in like 3 territories, but the rest of him is 70. Actually, in Northwest, he's still 71.
So I won't dive too deep into it because we went over it before we went live on the air. DDP, I made a golden error for all of you playing, right? Is if you have somebody on a handshake deal and you're like, you know what, I kind of want to lock this person up long term, beware. They're going to have, rival bids. And WWE came in and sniped DDP from me and offered him creative control. But joke's on them. The first week he was with them, he announced he was retiring in 3 months. So not that big of a loss.
Whoops. Let's see. I've got Don Callis managing Samoa Joe, and a lot more on Samoa Joe coming up in my save because I'm pushing him real hard. I've got him in my top story right now, and we'll get into all that here in a minute. Let's see. My other big stars. Let's see. I've got America's Most Wanted. Obviously, is my tag team champions. Jarrett's still 70s on mine. He's in. Well, we'll go into my stories. He's in my 2 story, so we'll get into that here in a second too.
He's in the 60s for me, but in the U.S. and 70s in Canada.
Let's see. I'm trying to. I did hire Meng to be my B show guy.
Nice.
To put some guys over. And he's been great every single time I've asked him to put someone over. He has. Now, granted, he's 35s in popularity, so it's not like he's super over or anything. But I mean,
sure.
He's also one of my road agents. So there's one of my differences in road agents. There's Meng.
Yeah.
Ron Killings is dropping, but he's still 50s. I don't know what to do with him. I'm gonna have to figure out something to do with Ron Killings.
So he's 40s for me, but he's got very hot momentum and he's pleased. I have him, but he's a B show guy. So
yes. Piper just retired in my save.
Mm-hmm.
He's still all 70s. I can keep him, so I got him on a handshake deal for $4,300 a show. But right now, he can only be a manager, a color commentator, or a personality, and to me, that ain't worth it. So I'm probably going to end up cutting him here pretty soon, which pains me because I love me some Roddy Piper. Samoa Joe, all mid-50s in the United States. And then Shane Douglas, mid-40s. Sting is, well, he was all 85s. He just dipped to 84. Probably because I need to find someone else that is up that high to compete with him.
Sure.
So I don't know if you do this. I do this. I also sign a bunch of dudes that are like prospects that I'm trying to prop up and push slowly over time. So in that category, I've got Angelina Love, who we just talked about, Beth Phoenix, Candice LeRae, I've got on my roster.
Mm-hmm.
She's 18 here in the save.
Legal. Nice.
Yikes. Like I'm doing the show with Dave. Doug Williams. So I've made a stable. Well, I had a stable. More on that in a second. It was Doug Williams, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre, called the Heritage, I believe is what I called it. But I only have Doug Williams and Sheamus, and I'll get into why I don't have. Technically, I still have Drew, but he's not on the roster. We'll get into that in a second. Eddie Kingston, he's my color commentator. And I also just started putting him over in matches. He is all mid-30s for me right now. Once I started putting him over, he caught on fire. It's like in real life, the crowd loves him. Still have Elix Skipper. Harry Smith is on my roster at 17. I have a threesome with Bret Hart, Harry Smith, and Natty as the new Hart Foundation. TJ Wilson is in my developmental, which we'll get into here in just a second. Who else do I got here for? That's it. So I also, because I have this issue, you can't run a show with like super over guys and prospects, because the prospects will never get over. They'll just be in the basement forever. So I also created the United States Wrestling League based out of the Northwest, which is my child company. And in that one, for some reason, I put Alex Shelley there, not Chris Sabin. So I'm getting ready to call up Alex Shelley so I can have the Motor City Machine Guns, and the America's Most Wanted can have a team to feud with. Bobby Roode's in there right now. Brody Lee's in there. Claudio. Oh, he was also in that European faction with, there was other guys. Drew Galloway, El Generico, Kazarian, the Briscoes. Earthquake is my veteran presence in that territory. Carl Anderson and Gallows, Kevin Steen, The Miz is in there. Ray Gordy, who everyone knows as Jesse from Jesse and Festus. Sanjay Dutt, some kid named Sterling James Keenan. And then that's where I have Terry Taylor is there. Yep. So the one person I have on here that's going to surprise everyone in my developmental, I have Kenny Omega is in my development.
That's awesome. Omega's unemployed in mine, thankfully.
He would be if I wouldn't have signed him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny because I've toyed with the idea of having a child company to send people down for development and things like that. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. I probably will. I'm going to wait and see where my finances go, with everything goes with my TV deals when that time comes. Because right now I'm flush with cash. I think I got $3 million maybe in the bank.
I'm at $3,056,000.
Yeah, I'm at $3,460,737.
And the only reason why I'm not at 4 is because I started that developmental territory, which I think was $750,000. So my stories, my top story, I've got Sting and Samoa Joe feuding over the title. So obviously the easiest way to get a guy over is to have him beat someone who's more popular than him, but it's not the only way. So because the popularity difference was so great between Samoa Joe and Sting, just having them compete in open matches, meaning they have the same amount of offense in the match, was getting Joe over. And I don't think it's going to be too much longer. If I have him beat like a Jeff Jarrett or an AJ Styles, I might be able to bump him up enough, because my goal is to get the title on Joe. And I want him to have the run as the heel champion. I've always liked heel champions better than face champions. I don't know why. My number 2 story is that one is Jeff Jarrett and AJ Styles. And again, same thing. I'm trying to get AJ up and eventually have AJ go. The only so I found this out the hard way at the last pay-per-view. Apparently, Jeff Jarrett has creative control.
Oh yeah.
So he will not go over unless he wants to. So that's going to be fun to navigate as time goes on. I've got Abyss and Shane Douglas is one of my mid-card stories. And then I've got Punk and BG James, which, believe it or not, just through their promos and matches, is actually my 3rd hottest story I have right now, is Punk and BG James. I've got the New Heart Foundation in there. I got America's Most Wanted, which actually I've got America's Most Wanted against the Dynasty of Sheamus and Doug Williams, and it's a 52. It's my 4th highest story. And it's pretty much only on Explosion. So I don't know why it's so hot, but it is. So that's my stories. I normally don't change my stories all that often. I'll let them run a pretty good amount of time. Usually end with some sort of a gimmick match, cage match, ladder match, whatever the case is. But it's going to be interesting because you're always trying to push one guy up to the next level. And right now it's probably going to be Punk, because I'm already doing Joe and AJ. So the next 2 will probably be Punk and Abyss. Probably the next 2 guys I really start pushing. And I already really started to push Abyss. Because again, once you start going with Abyss, he catches like wildfire.
I got to do more with Abyss. Who was it? It wasn't WWE. Somebody just tried to steal him though from me, because he was one of those guys on a handshake deal, I think. Mm-hmm. And I
think I had to tie him up.
I won him back, but yeah, it's something I definitely have to work on.
What's your size in your geographic locations? As we discuss different strategies here, and there's still a lot more to go over yet. We ain't going anywhere soon.
Which one? I refresh my memory where to go for that.
So that would be from the toolbox screen. If you go down to the bottom where all the buttons are, it says size.
Yeah, look at that. So so everywhere is a 55, with the exception of the Southeast is a 70 right now, and Hawaii is a 50, and that's in the U.S.
All right, so we're going to have to go over TV deals then, because I've got Southeast at a 66, but everything else is at least a 56, and Hawaii is a 52.
So I think one big difference there though is that you're already on TV.
Yes.
Like you're not just doing the events.
So let's go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
So
Ladies first.
Oh, you dick. So let's go ahead and discuss this.
Yeah.
Because I get the amount of TV deals you have to put up is absurd. So there's 2 shows plus all the countries that you're involved in. So we'll just hit the highlights for. I'm not going to do my B show, which is Explosion, but for Impact, my A show, it's on ESPN on the late night. I might try to bump that up here soon.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I've had terrible luck bumping my time slots up, and not just this save, and a lot of them. I can't bump it up. I don't know why. And then in Europe, I've got Euro Sport in the afternoon, which is the second to worst one you can have. Local, I'm local in all of Mexico on both.
Yep.
And then that's my B show, the box in New Zealand. And then that's it. So the rest of this is I don't know why I'm randomly on Sunshine Network for Explosion. I think it was already existing.
It is, because I'm on there too.
But for pay-per-view, I got Cablevision. Somehow they're letting me on there with Big. You don't get that early. That's kind of wild.
You inherited that. And it expires in 39 days. So
I can renegotiate right now. So
yeah, but when you do, you're going to find out they're not going to keep you on prime time. I doubt, at least.
I got Izzy for Mexico, SaskTel for Canada, who they're being real dicks about. I might be able to get that up in time. I doubt it. And then Omni is in Europe for mine.
Yep. So for me, all my events, I still have I have Cablevision, but remember, I just told you they won't let me. They wouldn't give me prime time. So I'm on late night with them, and I signed a 3-month contract extension with them. I messed up horribly and forgot to look into my broadcasting deals the first 4 months of the save.
Oh yeah.
So I just recently I'm on all the local channels on Mexico, local channels in Japan, anybody in other countries that would negotiate with me, I did it. But yeah, I've got 3 months left on this deal with Cablevision. My plan is probably at that point in time, I'll peek behind the curtain. I won't give too much into my storyline plan, but that's probably around when I'm going to drop out of the NWA as well, spin up other titles locally, and then hopefully convince somebody to let me do I'd like to try to do primetime. They probably won't let me do primetime right away. It'll probably have to be late night, and then I'll probably do smaller agreements with my broadcasting deals to try and force renegotiations to let me move up quicker, but we'll see.
So this is an interesting topic you just brought up, and I actually hadn't even thought of it till you said it. So what do you think would be better, being on, say, Cablevision for pay-per-view, where all of their locale ratings are big, so more eyes physically, but you're more than likely you have to be on afternoon or late night, which Graveyard is the worst one you can be on. Then it goes afternoons, and then late nights next. So would you rather have big on afternoon, Graveyard, or late night, or one that's the next size down would be large?
Yep.
And they'll let you be on primetime. I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't.
Might have to do an experiment on that, since mine's getting ready to expire, since I'm a slacker and I'm only in week 3 of May.
Yeah, well, you're gonna find out. Hopefully it works out for you there, bud. I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like I said, I'm still with Cablevision, but just now I'm on the late night time slot for the next. At this point, I have 56 days left on the contract. And there's other things like when I went into this, I was like, well, what if I made the move now? I think USA and TNT were willing to bring me on, but it was like, isn't there one between late night and Graveyard?
No.
Oh, I thought there was. Maybe then it
He
must be
goes
graveyard.
afternoon, early evening, prime time, late night. No, there's one after. There's 3 after prime time.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's. Let me see. I might actually have it here because I think I might be on one of them. So early evening, prime time. Oh yeah, it's just late night.
Late evening, late night, graveyard.
Okay. So most of my stuff is like Cablevision. I'm on late night, but everything and Eurosport. I'm on for events. I'm on for Europe, Canada as well. Those are all late night, and then all my Mexico and Japan is early evening, and then Sunshine Network for Explosion, and my U.S. syndication is also well, that's just on demand. The Sunshine Network goes early evening.
Yeah, I think we inherited Sunshine Network, and that's why I still have it. Because I've never aired an episode of television on that network with a save. Nope.
Yeah, and it's funny because in the game I still have 6 months left with them. So
I would only have 6 months left with them. So,
well, I have a question for you. Unless you have somewhere specific you want to go with.
No, go ahead, please.
When you left the NWA, what did anything? What pop-ups did you get? What happens?
So you know what? Weirdly, nothing happened.
Okay.
I think Jeff Jarrett's still the NWA champion. Is he? No, he's not. He dropped the belt. But yeah, I just left because my only thing is I don't want to share. So for people who don't know, when you join an alliance, or you can make one, which I think I've only done once, but if you join an alliance like the NWA, I'm not sure if it's true in this one, but usually it's true. Like if you make profit, say you make $400,000 per month, you have to share that with the NWA because they're the head.
Mm-hmm.
So you get none of your money, which is dumb. So the only way to combat that is you have to spend all of it before they can get it. But on the same token, like if you're a young company and you don't have because when you just transversed into a new size,
right.
like you became small or whatever from tiny, you're going to be so far behind in production values from everyone else. So what you can do is you can get all your production values up to match, and you're going to lose your ass money-wise, just so you know. But you're not fronting it. NWA is, as long as they're willing to do it. Now it won't be long because you're going to have like $450,000 a month in debt. They will kick you out eventually, but it is absolutely an option.
Yeah, it's something I'll toy with, and I just went to look. The guy that Jarrett dropped the NWA title to was, and I'm hopefully don't put my foot in my mouth here. I think the only person out there that I even know that might know who this person is Brandy Wagner, and that his name was. I'm gonna get so much heat from like Eddie in a second here because Eddie's gonna know this guy. Watch, is it Jun or Yun Akiyama?
Wasn't he just on AEW?
Was he? He might have been. I don't want to fucking watch AEW anymore. I mean, shit. I ain't Dave. Dave in the QC is the only person I know that still watches that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is. And right here, he was on AEW. Look at that.
I only know that because I think Cornette talked about him. Him and he was, he got into a slap fight with somebody. Might have been Jericho or Eddie Kingston, one or the other.
Okay.
And they got into a slap fight. And he was like, with some fucking guy no one's ever heard of. And Brian was like, "Don't you sully the name of Jun Akiyama? Don't you know who that is?" No. Anyway, we're not going to go down that road right now because that will take all night. That'll take longer than the show.
Yes.
So, I wish that we maybe Eddie, tell us what you've been doing over there in the comments. We'll critique it or shit on it if we have to. I did one completely different save.
Okay.
I did one same database, but I started my own company, but I fast forwarded until 2007.
Okay.
And then started a company. And I think it was immediately. Undertaker got busted in a drug ring, like being the head of a drug ring operation. and was released, but he's already back. He lasted like 3 months, and he's back with the company already. So it's kind of like real life.
I dig it.
So do you have any? Are you going to build a women's roster on yours, or are you waiting for a while to do that? Because again, it takes to go from no women's roster to having a women's roster takes a while to do. Because you're not going to get Sherry Martel, you're not going to get Luna Vachon until in 4. I mean, and you're not going to get Trish or Lita or any of those either. You're going to have to start from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to, but I haven't been focusing on that. I've been trying to find things that really will increase. Like, I know will pull ratings quick, and I'm worried about my skill set in booking women's matches or women's storylines on here. But I will get there. I should also mention other people that I just recently signed were let's see, do I have it here? Expires, boom. I just signed Ron Simmons. My intent was to put him on the B show to just build talent.
Yeah.
But he won't work the B shows. I just signed Scott Steiner. He just came up, but literally this week that I'm about to book is his first week he's available to be booked with me. I booked a few weeks ago. I signed a few about a month or two ago in the save was Bobby Roode. I know you already had him. Because you did things obviously the way that you do them, and you signed all these development people. I didn't do that early, so I'm sure that will bite me in the ass probably a year down the road in the save. But yeah, and I feel like there was somebody else. I'm trying to remember who I just signed. I wish there was an easy way to go back and say who was just signed recently. There's really not.
So
what I remember.
Oh, I just had a title change in Friday of week 3 of May. They had a 3-way title match between Sting, Jeff Jarrett, and DDP, and your winner, Jeff Jarrett, just won the TNA World Title.
Well, Andy's got creative control, so good luck getting it off him.
Yeah, no shit.
So, peek behind the curtain, we clearly know, unless TJ wants to rephrase that, sounds like TJ didn't book that match.
I did not. No, actually, I probably should have paid more attention to that. I normally only book from scratch my pay-per-views.
Yeah.
My TVs and stuff I don't. So Eddie here gave us some insights on what he's doing. He said he's struggling.
Sure.
He's new to the game. Not hard to imagine.
That's why we're doing this, right? This was our first save. Yeah.
Booking skills are bad. Mine were Eddie. My stories when I first started playing this game were I wasn't even doing them. So if you're doing something, that's more than I was doing when I started. Half the roster hates me. Easy way to fix that. Cut them. But here's the thing. I run my version of TNA like Bill Watts. So I'm going to guess what you mean is you just find everyone that does something that causes some sort of a backstage incident. You can't do that. Unfortunately. And here's the thing. So let's do this. I'll bring my screen back up. See, it says May of 2004. So I'm going to go to backstage. And over here, you see it's 100%. Now, granted, I'm doing hotels paid for, transports paid for, caterings provided. Fails a drug test, don't drug test. Easy way to solve that. If they get busted somewhere else, then you can fine them. And usually they're okay with it, depending on what it is. So if you can only send them to rehab if they're under contract. If they're not, you can't. The most you can do is fine them. So soft drugs, fine. And this is if they're under contract. Soft drugs, fine. Steroids, fine. Hard drugs, rehab. First time. I always do rehab. Now, if you send them to rehab, they're going to be gone for 6 months to a year. And for some reason, that always changes. Like I did a WCW save for 1997, and I sent Buff and Ray Traylor to rehab with within a month of each other, and Buff was like 6 months and Ray was like 9, and I don't know why. So what you do is if you have a lot of this, which is again, Mike said he has Raven. Raven was I had Raven put over CM Punk, then I cut him because he was a Sandman. Never saw television on my company. Get that goofy fuck out of here. Anyone that has extremely negative, now Jarrett has extremely negative influence, but he still has a lot to offer the company. He's one of my most over guys. You just have to deal with it. But the one thing you will have, say Kevin Nash came up and you brought him into TNA. Well, that's probably not a good example because he's not as toxic now as the infamous WCW 01 say, which I would imagine how we're going to end this season because it's the hardest one I've ever done. Still haven't done it successfully. Still yet to make money on that save. But if say it's 2001 and I'm WCW towards the end and I have Kevin Nash, Scott Hall's not there, but I have Nash. Kevin Nash will actually start talking to other people on the roster and turning them on people he doesn't like. And it will just rot your roster out in no time flat. It's pretty wild. Really, you're surprised that Jeff is a negative influence? I'm not that surprised. Also, tweet of the night, whatever this shit says. Can't even see Mike's face, it's so big.
Jesus.
Incredibly flexible and convenient order management panel. Everything is in your hands. By the way, if you're watching this, don't click that link because it's not even a link. How do you cut people?
Do you know how to do it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you.
So you go to roster and say I did want to cut Jeff Jarrett because he's being a dick. You would go up here to popularity and see how these little gold arrows here. Now I see Jeff Jarrett. He's under exclusive written contract, so I can't really. Well, I mean, I can, but I'm gonna pay out the ass to do it. $31,000 a month, which is actually for how over he is a bargain. He's under contract for almost 6 years, and you releases right here. So if they're under a handshake deal, they'll just go away. I mean, there's nothing else you have to do. But like with him being an exclusive written contract, I have to pay off the remainder of his contract for him to go away and not sue me. Because that will also happen. They will sue you for wrongful termination. That's happened to me several times. Not on this one, but in other ones. Like, again, so Mike turned me on to this. There's a database from January of 2001. And you can be WCW. And you start off $2 million in the hole. And it's the end of WCW, so everyone is just crazy overpaid. Goldberg's making, I think Goldberg, Sting, and somebody else are making $600,000 a year, which actually is not even as much as they were actually making in real life. Nash is up there. Flair's up there, and Luger's up there, but Luger, Flair, and Sting are on hiatus, and Goldberg are all on hiatus and will not come back. So in the last one I just released all of them because if I can't use you, what am I going to pay every month?
Sure.
Kevin Nash was there, but I cut him because again, his locker room, send away Eddie, not the same thing.
Yeah, no.
Send away is to send him away to your developmental territory, not release. So again, we'll do this again. Go to roster. Popularity, right arrow, release. Right there. But again, make sure they're under handshake. That exclusive written contract that will gut you financially for a long time if you do that. So, see the next one in 2 weeks we're headed for October. Is there anything? Well, first, is there anything in this one where we're at now we should discuss before we sign off for the night? We're almost to an hour. I think we've done a fine job of bullshitting.
Nothing that I could think of. One other one, and I don't know if I feel like this was one of my signings, but I just realized as I was going through my save. Bobby Heenan's on my announced team.
Oh, I was just actually going to ask you about that.
Yes,
he was on mine, and I cut him.
Really?
Because was it this one? So because him and Don West were an awkward pairing. That's what it was. So my events is Mike Tenay, Don West, and Eddie Kingston.
Okay.
Explosion. So the B show, Jeremy Borash and Dutch Mantel.
I love Eddie Kingston. Go on, sorry.
Impact, Don West, Mike Tenay, and Eddie Kingston. So the reason I've done that, I put Eddie Kingston there. Outside of he has phenomenal color rating, which for some reason is I thought maybe if I use him as an announcer and then wrestle on the cards, he'll get over faster. And so far, where is he? It's worked. He's all mid-30s.
Nice.
So it's, I mean, it's working somewhat. What other other than the DD the Piper? Well, you said you had issues with Piper. What was your issues with Piper?
Let me go back. So
He's been tremendous in mine.
My issues with Piper. So let me go. Nope. Search. Reset. Search. There he is. Match history. So let me go over the reasons why Piper's pissed. He put Sting over, which he shouldn't be that pissed about that. He got super annoyed. I had him in one of the a 4-on-4 match, and he took the pin. I forget if it was from Punk or Styles, but I think that's the one that really pissed him off.
Did you book him to take the pin, or is that just how it worked out?
Oh, I booked him to take the pin.
Oh, you booked him. Okay.
I picked that shit.
See, I only book winners. I rarely book the loser.
I rarely pick the losers, but in that situation, I did because I wanted to keep other people strong, and I knew Piper long term wasn't going to be my main event picture. So it was like, let him take the pin.
Yeah, if you're unaware, Roddy Piper in the save is 49. So he's that. I mean, I don't even remember. Did he even wrestle in TNA in real life? I don't think he did.
I don't believe so. Yeah, I do not believe so. But he also. What's funny is he planned to retire too. So where's it at? Piper plans to retire within 3 months. That was the first week of May 2004. So yeah, I mean, in 3 weeks in the save, or 4 weeks from now in the save, he won't even be a worker anymore, right? So he's gonna retire.
And in mine, he again, I'm in the end of May. He just retired.
Yeah,
which is weird, and I knew that. I just forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am looking at other things.
Do you have any stables? Do you have any stables?
My Shane McMahon stable, but I kind of embarrassed about telling you what their name is because I am not the most creative person in the world.
I'm terrible at it. So
this name has never been used, but you definitely have heard it before. Shane's stable is the Hounds of Justice.
I like it.
I mean, it's shit. Team Jarrett is now Jarrett and Savage. Like they're just closely knit together. You brought up Shane or the Sandman, right? I think you mentioned Shane Douglas and Raven and all them, right? So like that's my next thing for them is I will probably do a lot more like extreme or hardcore matches that revolves around those three, and it seems to get me pretty solid ratings if I'm being honest.
So another thing we haven't really discussed. Did you change the product for TNA when you started?
No.
The style? I don't think I did either. And because I believe their style is no style, which I didn't know was a thing. But so different. If you choose different styles, I almost always choose classic sports entertainment because it's just what I know the best. So every style you pick, certain match types, or if you pick your angles to be specified by, I know on that one it's sex appeal. So if you have a woman do a promo and it's just based solely on sex appeal to bomb, and you can't do hardcore matches, you can't do blood, stuff like that. So there's certain ones that have their negative consequences. Like there's one you can pick the XPW style, which is I think it's called adult filth is what it's called. And like you can do all of those things, but I'm just going to tell you now, it's going to be borderline impossible to get on television.
Right.
It might actually be impossible to get on television with that one. So I mean, everyone has their shortcomings and such. Have you noticed in your save, this game absolutely hates Roland Alexander?
No.
Every time I fast forward to a new show, it's a new scumbag story.
I should say I haven't noticed it. No.
And it's always him not paying someone is the story.
Yeah. Surprisingly, the ain't right now.
It's not just this one. I've done multiple saves from both 2001 and here, and it's always the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen too much of that. I'm trying to think. I really haven't seen really too much crazy shit at all come through or anything.
I've there's one save I did. I actually tried to buy his promotion just so I could stop seeing it.
Nice.
I'm going to see, because something we talk about that always comes up is random. So they have this setting in this game called Kenny Deaths.
Yep.
So people just die randomly.
Mine is off. I turned it off.
Oh, you turned it off?
Yes.
Oh, I left it on. So I'm going to see if there's any just random deaths. I don't think there is. I think everyone that's dead is supposed to be.
Where are you going for that? You're not looking at workers, right?
You go to workers, then search, and then status is deceased.
Yes, let me tell you. I don't think search, status, deceased, search.
Yeah, everyone who's dead is supposed to be. So that's good.
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, there we go. Andre, Blue Demon, Bob Cottle. Yeah, let's think.
Bob Cottle's still alive in mine.
Oh, Bob Cottle's dead in mine. Oh, Bob Cottle passes away. Yep, there it is. There, so that came across in the headline. Let's see. Brian Dixon, the ASW owner. And that's it.
When did we start? January of 2004?
January, first week of January, yes, sir.
All right, so there's this guy called Takeshi Morishima.
Okay.
Died when he was 25. Said he dies in an accident. He's the only one, and I don't even. Oh, there's another one. Yusuke Inukuma. So I don't know what's going on in Japan, but they're all dying in accidents.
We dropped another bomb on him because you have Kenny death, so that's what happened.
So what are you going to have going forward here for the next quarter? Anything without giving away your formula or anything like that?
Yeah,
Eddie, you got to figure this shit out on your own because all these hands are going to start getting harder. This is like the easiest one we're going to do.
So if I'm being honest, my focus is really going to be around trying to just bolster my ratings so that in 60 days, hopefully I can negotiate something into prime time on cable and go to monthly pay-per-views. Not gonna lie though, it's super easy to book this thing when you're doing just weekly pay-per-views and that's it. So easy. And Eddie just cut Sandman. Nice. And
he was just waiting.
I'm planning. So I gotta get rid of him. I plan on. Raven isn't happy.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to tell me that he cut Jeff Jarrett now. No. But I plan on leaving the NWA around that time. Again, I'm not going to give any specifics into what that's going to look like. Probably create some more titles. And really, the other thing I plan for in the next 60 days, thanks to you now that this is in my head, is like I really have to do something for development in terms of either starting a child company to do that or partnering with somebody, and really get some of my young guys built out. Probably focus a little bit on Explosion for the B show and see if I can use that to build some people. I don't know how many people want to come work for me when they realize, I just sign these people to put over the young guys, but we'll see.
Luckily, I don't think that's the thing. The time they catch on, like, I know what you're going to do with me. I'm not.
Right. Well, yeah, now that's right. Yeah, that doesn't happen when you go to sign them for sure, but we'll see. We'll see. But hey, I can sign a Duel of the Butcher right now, and maybe I haven't put some people over.
Give him hepatitis. So I think my goal. I've been keeping an eye on the headline screen for either releases or negotiations. I'd love to sign one more star because, again, Sting was all blues, which means he was 85 or higher. He just dipped down to 84, and I think it's because I don't have anyone else really that's high to feud with him. Samoa Joe is getting there. Jarrett is 70s. Styles is catching quick, but I don't have anyone to that level. So I think either because even DDP, now that I just had him put over Abyss, is 70 still. But again, that's 70 to 84 is a huge difference. Mm-hmm. Their promos would crush if I let them do that. But finding one more guy to do that, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to build one. I might, but their pay-per-view match would have to be match of the year candidate, which is it's never happened to me on this game. I've never had a match of the year candidate on this game.
We are ignoring the fact that there is somebody that in my save has a popularity of 75 that's sitting there waiting to be signed by somebody. He goes by the name of Warrior. I've avoided him at all costs so far.
Of course. Of course. Every save I've ever done for any database, nope. Could be 93, because I think 93 is a free agent. 97 he is. All of them. No chance. 01? No. He's all 75s. Don't care. I am good.
Yeah. Because I'm there with you.
He's a poison in every one. I wonder. Well, I'm just going to do a cursory glance here at the workers and see if there's anyone big time. I doubt there is. Let's see.
Oh, Jake Roberts. So I was going to sign him, and he also announced in the next 3 months he's retiring from in-ring competition. So
he works for an independent on this save, doesn't he?
ASW.
Yeah, ASW. So go the 70 US 75 and over. Any backstage influence. Goldberg signed by New Japan in mind. Booker T signed. Bret Hart, I have him. Lesnar signed. He's the current WWE champion. I will throw that in. Benoit signed. Jericho signed. Dusty Rhodes have him. Eddie signed. Hulk Hogan won't talk to anybody. JR, which is kind of surprising actually. Kevin Nash signed. Kurt Angle signed. Undertaker signed. Foley signed. Randy Savage just came up. Ric Flair signed. RVD signed. Shane McMahon was signed. How much longer till his deal is up? 5 years, 7 months. Nope. Shawn Michaels signed, and he's on loan to OVW for some weird reason. Stephanie McMahon, signed. Austin's still in. Well, he wasn't WWE for Sting. I have him. The Rock is signed. The Rock is all 100s all the way down. Every country.
Yep.
Whoa.
I mean, it's 04. He's huge then.
Yes. Triple H, current World Heavyweight Champion, is signed, and Vince McMahon is signed. So just for shits and giggles, Randy Savage turned me down. That son of a bitch. Hogan too. But Savage is just getting ready to dip down to 84. So might be able to get him then. 51 years old here.
It's funny because as I'm thinking about this, and it's really not that much more, but your path to catch up and to get to October is harder than mine because you have all the weekly shows to do plus a monthly pay-per-view.
Yeah. That
you're building towards. Whereas right now, since there is no monthly pay-per-view for me, I'm just building to the next week.
But it's the hardest part is getting your stories together and then figuring out how you want to send them on their way. Because once you get them rolling, it's not terrible. Like I just had my second pay-per-view with the majority of my stories, and I think I only had two of them face each other on pay-per-view.
Sure.
One of them was a tag match. So that's how I make mine last so long, is they're still around each other. They're just not facing each other every single pay-per-view or show. I spread it out over time. And then I just make sure all their promos always advance that story. So it kind of keeps them hot. The fans are ready for it when they have a match. It usually gets a better rating that way. So we'll be all right. Any last thoughts for tonight? This is fun.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything for tonight. I really appreciate it and look forward to the next one.
So when we come back, we're gonna in 2 weeks from today, we're gonna be in October.
Yep.
So we're gonna be closing in here on 9 months, almost an entire year for our first save. So to let you know how fast this is gonna go, our next show we're gonna be almost halfway done.
We should probably talk about the next show right now, TJ, because 2 weeks from tonight, you may or may not know this because I think you're Jewish. It's Christmas.
I just
so,
think about that.
I won't be here Christmas Eve, but I'm open to other nights that around then. The week after that is unfortunately New Year's Eve. So
do we cram it in and do it next weekend?
I am in Miami next weekend.
You son of a bitch.
So if it's a Saturday, we're kind of SOL for a little bit.
What about Friday?
Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
I could probably do that.
All right. We'll let you know when we're going to come back. We're going to be back, though.
Yeah. We'll talk more offline about it.
Yes. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight. And we'll see you in sometime. But in the save, we'll see you in October.
We hope to see you in October, TJ.
Thank you.